Hey everyone, James Lynch here doing a quick reaction video to the news. The Mohammed Usman has been suspended by the anti-doping agency. I'll read the statement here. Shout out to Big Marcel Dorf, one of the best in the business, finding the statement here from the UFC. We'll read what he has to write here. We'll read a little bit about the statement, and then we'll also read some of the comments from people. This is making waves all over Twitter right now. Combat Sports Anti-Doping, so this is the new USADA, announced today that Mohammed Usman of Coral Springs, Florida, has accepted a 2-year and 6-month period of ineligibility for violations of UFC anti-doping policy. Usman tested positive for the presence of testosterone, a prohibited at all times substance in the class of anabolic agents on the UFC prohibited list from out-of-competition sample collected from him on September 8th, 2025, in Coral Springs, Florida. Usman accepted suspension began on October 9th, 2025, the day he was notified of the positive test, removed from Rio de Janeiro card. Remember, he's supposed to fight Walter Walker. The suspension will end April 9th, 2028. Usman's already, how old? He's 36, so this suspension will take him into his late 30s. This is like a career killer right here for Mohammed Usman. Again, this is on the UFC's website, so this is all coming down right now. I do wonder why we're finding out about this now when this happened in October, but that's aside the point. There you go. It says eligibility. I read that part there about the suspension. While Usman ultimately took responsibility for the above details, he did not do so in timely fashion, and not until CSAD confronted him with evidence they had independently collected during a detailed investigation of his use of these multiple prohibited substances, as well as his attempt to deceive the CSAD with a false explanation. Under the UFC, if an athlete uses multiple substances like Usman did and engages in deceptive or obstructive conduct to avoid the adjudication of, I'm butchering that, of the anti-doping policy like he did, then aggravating circumstances are determined to exist. So he's basically screwed here. Suspension began on October 9th. CSAD independently administers the UFC's year-round anti-doping program. So yeah, bad news here for Mohammed Usman, who is the UFC heavyweight, the brother of Kamaru Usman. Probably that's what he's best known for. And yeah, like I mentioned there, that's tough for a guy who's going to be 37 in April. So he is coming off the win over Hamdi. Overall UFC record, he's what, 4-2. So this really hurts him. And yeah, again, the Walter Walker fight, they said it was an injury, but turns out it was something different with what's going on here, because they do reference the fight there, right, if I'm not mistaken. Usman's accepted suspension began on October 9th, which was before this fight, the day he was notified of the positive test and removed from the Rio de Janeiro card. So Tapology, and I think most outlets reported it an injury, but turns out it wasn't. He got busted. Now, let's read some of the comments here from people, just in the comments here. Sky is blue. That will be his career. A lot of people saying that. He ain't fighting again. I'm curious to see. They released a statement, but they didn't mention anything about Usman being released. Maybe that'll come. We'll see. This is all very new here. And then we got some quotes as well. Obviously, some people chiming in here. Adam Martin, my good buddy, saying, cut this cheater from the UFC roster. You know, some memes here, something in Japanese. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know if that's Japanese or not. Well, here we go. Nolan King. Mohammed Usman suspended 30 months for failed drug tests and deceptive behavior per UFC. He'll be 39 when he's eligible to return in 2028. So yeah, everyone kind of chiming in on this one right now. Imagine using testosterone to be the worst heavyweight on the roster. People going for the jugular here, career over. So yeah, I mean, I would agree here. And granted, heavyweight's one of those divisions where usually you can see fighters compete a little bit later, but yeah, I don't know. Like I was kind of wondering when we were going to get like a big suspension like this when USADA went away, right? Because they switched over. I'm trying to remember exactly when they got rid of USADA. Was it early last year? I think USADA. They left when it was, yeah, the beginning of Jan. Oh wow, so it's been almost 2 years. Why did I think it was later than that? I'm not sure. So they are still testing, and if you're going to try and cheat, they are going to test you, and they are going to find out. So this was out of competition that they found this out. And again, Usman's run in the UFC has been okay. Like I said, 4-2 record, which at heavyweight, I mean, that's actually pretty good because, again, you look at how quickly you can move up in the heavyweight division. It's pretty impressive. Mind you, most of his wins against guys that aren't in the UFC, Zach Pagua, Junior Taffa, Jay Collier. So now begs the question, how long was he using all these different things, right? These are all things that people are going to look at. And unfortunately, you know, there's going to be people that will probably tie this to his brother, just because although to be fair, I don't think they closely train together or anything like that. But this is something that was obviously brought up when Khabib's teammate was busted. Remember the PFL fighter? I did a video on that a little while ago. You know, when one person from a camp or someone that closely trains with another person gets busted, people then start pointing fingers. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is something that people will mention. I'm curious if Kamaru will say anything on this of his brother getting suspended like this, or his management. I wonder if we're going to hear any sort of statement from Mohammed Usman. I mean, it's out there. There's no statement from him here. This is just the UFC statement. So they are looking for people cheating, and they're looking to make an example of him, obviously, with the fact he cheated. And again, his performances have not been that good. That Hamdi fight was not a fight that people liked. They didn't really enjoy it, right? And then some of these losses, Mick Parson, Thomas Peterson, these are not fights that I think people were thrilled to see. So I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC does decide to just part ways with him here, especially in this new Paramount era where they are being very strict, let's call it like it is, on fighters they want that are entertaining. Again, we did a whole video on this about, you know, Rinat Fakhretdinov. They cut him. He was undefeated in the UFC. And I know he technically should have lost to, you know, to what's his name? Carlos Leal. But you know, they want guys that are exciting, and Usman doesn't really fit that bill. And now he's gotten busted. Like, I don't think there's going to be much of a rope there as well. Not to mention the fact that he's going to be so much older when he gets back. 2 years, 30 months, or whatever Nolan did the math on it. That's a long time. So this is all kind of rapidly happening again. This was 20 minutes ago, Marcel. And shout out to Marcel. This is why he's one of the best in the business. Keeping an eye on what's going on. So yeah, Marcel really keeping us posted here with the statement and what's happening here. And if I had to do a prediction here, I think he's probably done in the UFC. Whether they cut him, which I think there's a possibility they could, or he just doesn't fight again. One or the other. Not that, honestly, like, not that I think he was going to, you know, go on some sort of crazy run in the division. He's a bit older. I know it is an older division, but, you know, watching him fight, there was no, like, kind of thought like, oh, this guy's going to light the world on fire. So it's a big deal, I guess, only because, you know, the length of the suspension. We haven't really had something like this in the UFC in a long time, a fighter being suspended this much. And obviously the fact that he's Kamaru Usman's brother, which, you know, people are going to say what they got to say about it. But again, his brother's not been accused of anything or did anything, but you know how people are. They're going to kind of tie things together a little bit. But yeah, you can't be cheating and deceiving the UFC here. You're going to get caught. That's why they have these drug, you know, commissions they're keeping an eye on this stuff. And yeah, I will say right now, I think his career's over, and I think that's probably the end. But yeah, why risk it in this day and age? That's my whole thing. Like, again, heavyweight's not that, you know, stacked of a division. You lose a couple fights, you're not at your best. Why are you cheating? And then it makes you wonder, is there other people doing it? All this stuff, right? So these are something we'll have to keep an eye on. And we'll see, with this suspension, is this going to be a rolling effect? Are we going to see other fighters get caught? I don't know. It'll be interesting. But this, to my knowledge, and let me know in the comments, this, to my knowledge, is one of the first suspensions I've seen that's not USADA. I think we've had like little ones, but nothing to this extent here. So again, Mohammed Usman pretty much putting his career in the toilet right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, your reaction to this. Let me know, what do you think of Usman's run in the UFC? Do you think his career's over? Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.